Hello, in this video I will show you how to create a scheduled job for Atlassian Data Center. I will show you how to manage this job from the front end. The front end will be written in Atlas Kit. I will put the link for the source code into the description for the video. Okay, let's start. Okay, here is our backend. Let's start with it. So first of all, we need to register our job so that Atlassian Data Center, in our case is Jira. I will be talking about Jira, but basically you can do it in Confluence and Bitbucket, it's all the same. So first of all, you need to let Atlassian know that Atlassian has to register our job. How to do that? We've got a class called Job Launcher. It implements three interfaces: lifecycle aware, initializing bin, and disposable bin. These interfaces let our application register our scheduled job. Lifecycle aware, it has onStart event. It's event from OSGI itself. Then we've got initializing bin. It's after property set event. And also we've got event from Atlassian itself. The event is called onPlugin enabled. So when your plugin is enabled in Atlassian, this event fires. And when the three events fire it means that our application is ready and we want to register our scheduled job. Okay, so we've got our three events after property set. Where we register our listener, because we have a listener here. We catch onPlugin enabled event, and then we have on lifecycle event after property set fired. Here we check if lifecycle ready. Lifecycle will be ready when all the three events after property set, onStart, and plugin key enabled event fire. Then our application will be started and we will be able to register our job. So here we check for this event. And then, for example, on start event, let's find it. It has the same one, so it again calls on lifecycle event and says that lifecycle aware on start fired. And the same for plugin enabled. If plugin key equals to the key of our plugin, then we also say that this event fire. And then after it's fired over here, we unregister our listener. We don't need it anymore. And then we launch our application. We go to register job runner. And here we first register our job by the service provided by Atlassian. And then, after it's registered by the service provided by Atlassian, we already use our job scheduler and schedule our sample job. We will go there later into this function and to see how it's done. Right now, we just want to see the dynamics. Also here we've got unregistered job runner. When we want to unregister it, first we unregister our scheduled job. That's how it's done. Let's unschedule. So we get our job ID. Then we get our job details. And then if job details are not null, it means that our job is still there. We delete our job from here. And that's it. That's how we unschedule it. And also we have restart our job. First we unschedule our job and then we schedule our job. That's how the restart job works. Okay, so this one is done. Our job is registered. Now let's have a deeper look into how we schedule our job. First of all, we get when we want to have our first run, and that's how we count it. Because when we register our job, we have also provide the date when our job starts to run for the first time. Then we start to define job config. We have that the schedule will be the delay. Delay comes from our plugin settings. Because for this application, I store all settings in plugin settings. Because active object, in my previous video I stored data in active objects, but active objects are used only if you've got lots of data, it's normalized, you need to create tables, other things. But here we just save like a couple of parameters, so, and these parameters do not often change, you don't like query these parameters all the time. That's why it's okay to store it in plugin settings. So I get the delay from there, and because the delay is in minutes, I convert it into milliseconds. Then I say that it will run locally. Our job will run locally. What it means if a job runs locally? It means that if we've got, for example, 2 nodes, this job will run every 2 minutes on each node. So at the same time, you can have 2 jobs running on each node. If you want the job to run once, like every minute it will run once on any cluster, then you can say run once per cluster. That's it. And that's it. After it, we register the parameters, and our job is scheduled over here, schedule service. So our job is scheduled and it started to work. And what actually does it do? And to find the answer what it does, we need to return to our registered job runner over here. It's our job launcher, and here the first line before scheduling our job, we said that register our job runner with job runner, and that's the implementation of the job runner. And right now actually it does nothing. Here we've got it implements sample job runner, and it has a function called run job, and this scheduler from Atlassian, when the job has to be scheduled and run, Atlassian takes executes this run job in this class, and it calls this function, and this function actually just logs an error into our log file. But here it should be your real implementation, what you have to do. And that's it for how you schedule the job. So nothing more is needed. All other things, like for example, job setting service, it's a service which manages our parameters which are stored in plugin settings. First of all, how we do that? We first create our plugin settings, and then we start like get delay, we get our parameter, and then set delay, we set the delay for our parameter, and that's basically how it works. Also, we've got our servlet, which when we, for example, want to launch our application and to manage our parameter, this servlet shows us our UI. I will show you that. This is the UI. So when I start the URL, this servlet works. Okay, and show us this UI. Okay, let's see what it does. The most important thing here, because usually scheduled jobs cannot be managed by anyone. That's why you need to make, in my case, for example, I make sure that the user who wants to call the servlet is an admin. It's over here. User manager is admin. And in this case, for example, if you log out in our application over here, and then you try to call our servlet, it will say that you do not have permission to call this up. So you need to be logged in. And that is how it is done, you see. So if it is admin, then you can see our servlet. If not, then I render permission error template, and here how I defined it over here. That's what we can see. You do not have permission to call this up. Also, I have REST over here. So what this REST does, first of all, I've got get to get the settings for the job. Again, I'm using user manager. This user manager is from SAL. Why it is from SAL? You could, because it's Jira, you could use Jira user manager. But if you want to write an application which will be working on all Atlassian products, it's better to use SAL, because SAL functions, SAL services work on all Atlassian products. And that's why I'm using SAL here. That's how I check for admin, and then if I'm admin, then I will show the settings for our scheduled job. If not admin, then you will see that it's forbidden. And also I have a REST call to save our new parameters and restart the job. That's how it's done. Again, I check that I'm admin, that the user who calls the REST is an admin, and then I set the new delay, and then I restart the sample job. And that's it. And that's basically, for example, let's say I want to start it every 10 minutes. Job restarted, and then I can see my job over here. If I go to system, here will be scheduler details, and then my job is called Com Superhighway. It's over here. If I open it, then you will see that it runs 10 minutes, it's local. Last run was 16:46, so it was a minute ago. Right now it's 16:47, and that's it. That's how it works. So you can use this application as like a template for creating scheduled jobs, because all you have to do, you just need to rename your job to call it the proper way, and then define what your job has to do. Okay, hopefully this video will help you. Thank you very much. Bye bye.